All right, game number 1 in the second match of the day underway. This is, of course, the second group in the round of 16 for the TING Open. After this, it does lead directly to the round of 8, where we continue with the trend of best of 5s. But each player will be able to prepare specifically for those matchups. More on that in a moment, though. Spawning the top left side of the map, it's going to be the red Zerg player, hailing from Europe. It's Ro16 Gaming's FireCake.
In the bottom right, as the purple Zerg, he is Hydra. Root Hydra.
Of course, Hydra slapping out on the gas in the pool before his expansion. Real quick, again, we're playing on North America. It's the middle ground. Hydra would normally have the server advantage if this was the case, because he is from the root house in California. However, Hydra's currently in Korea. Now, I don't know why. Maybe it's... My best guess is like it's a pit stop on the way to Shanghai or something, but Hydra is currently playing from Korea. So if it's for example, the winner's match of Hydra versus Reality, that'll be played out in Korea. If it's anything else, it's going to be in North America, as it's the middle ground, and both these players agreed. It's worth noting we have been offering the option, only if both players agree, of course, to server swap based off a coin flip. So start on EU, go to Korea, NA, Korea. But like the thing is, nobody really wants to play that far off of server, so they both agreed to just stick with the middle ground.
Yeah, if you really want to, chance it, you could have your preferred server 3 times, but that would actually be entirely up to chance, and even that might not be preferable.
It also doesn't guarantee advantage either. Snoot versus Kellizer was a great example of this yesterday. Snoot won quite a few matches on the NA server against Kellizer. Now, of course, with the pool and the gas and whatnot coming down so quick, Hydra not going for the craziest cheese you've seen of your life, but he is going to be getting banlings out pretty quick. And the question really does come down to where does he cut drones, if he cuts drones. This could have been a defensive setup in fear of what FireCake may throw at him, but scouting in a moment will probably tell him, like, hey, you know what, I might be able to get away with like 25 drones and then just go ham on some banlings and lings.
Well, Hydra, did go for that earlier gas and pool, and I think in this situation, it is going to be for the offense as opposed to any fear or an early pool. He's getting a lot of lings. He's hitting these 2. I'm guessing to make into banelings. The banelings is almost done. He does have a lead in that speed. I think FireCake went for his own gas pretty quickly after his hatchery, so he's not that far behind on speed, but it is still notable. And even though it's ruins, cross-spawn, lings are always going to be pretty damn fast. C is actually a lot of lings while they're still slow, so a little unfortunate for Hydra, who noticed there wasn't an Overlord and went out a little bit early, but oh well. Good thing those lings saw them. FireCake's gonna be building his own banelings now, and his own lings, for sure. Yeah,
FireCake losing his 2 lings in the middle of the map, so I was just watching to see what was going on. With his banelings starting up now, it's not bad, but it is going to be initial lead here to Hydra. Now going to pop off on these lings over the Queens, means they're not going to be able to save the drones. Ooh. 5 kills, not too shabby. But I almost wonder if those banelings would have been better zoning out his opponent's lings so he could continue the attack. Either way, does get away with now a drone lead back on his side of the field.
Yeah, as long as that happened, then it was totally worth it. Now he has to be a little afraid of the counterattack. He knows his opponent has his own speed and banelings.
So I should be watching this fight. This is a great read, out of Hydra, though. He takes out a couple of the drones, and I think a lot of people would be really, really scared of a counterattack. Boom, immediately making lings. But we've talked about this so many times where it's like the best Zerg players know when they can squeeze in drones, when they can kind of wiggle out 1 or 2 extra. Hydra does precisely that. Now he's got lings out, he's got banelings out. He's good to go for a defense against, well, it's a counterattack, it's just not a massive one.
Yeah. Yeah, he just needs really his own banelings, and he should be pretty good to go. He's getting 2 more, he's being pretty safe. They both don't really have overlords in the path of ruins, because it is that cross spawn. It's going to be really hard to figure out where your opponent's lings are actually going to go, but they're covering the entryway anyway, so they'll be able to see if there's going to be roaches or lings at the very least. Queens could probably start to waddle out here and take care of both overlords for both players, but always a little scary when you know that your opponent has speed too. Don't want to lose any queens. FireCake's away with a third base here and should be able to defend it pretty well. Hydra, I think, would have liked to have canceled that, but no go on that. They both have a lair, and I think they're both going for Spire.
And families from behind. Oh, almost could have caught those lings from FireCake. Not a lot more to be done with what's on this side of the field. Maybe just trade out best you can, cost effectively.
Oh yeah, the Spire versus Spire is real, and Hydra saw it too, which is really nice. Now, FireCake has seen nothing but Lings and no third, so he might also be feeling the Spire. But he hasn't actually gotten a confirmation, so we'll see if he knows or not with the Carapace.
That's where FireCake's third being done a little bit sooner could give him a bit of an edge. Constantly talking about how you just want to get that one Muta lead, and that's where the economy from a third or fourth really comes into play. However, there is a pretty large attack coming Hydra's way. Now, he's got a couple of Banelings, he's got the Spine Crawler out to be safe, but defending this third is going to be a real chore. If this was a little more finished, it'd be less dangerous, but it doesn't have a lot of health, so he has to rush out here immediately.
Yeah. Has just enough to take care of it. Oh, unless he hits those Banelings. Yeah, he should be good. The third base is definitely important, and FireCake does get his gases down, so that is the most important part of the third base. Lings do play a big part in Muta versus Muta, but it's just not as much as actually having the good amount of Mutas, the same amount at least of your opponent.
Sneaky, sneaky.
Okay, 3.
Not the best kills, but decent. Did drive some of the gas mining off temporarily, but... okay, so the Muta wars begin. They're both going for Carapace. Safe than sorry, I suppose. I think Hydra taking educated guesses is...
He saw the Spire.
Oh, did he actually scout it?
Yeah, Hydra saw FireCake's. FireCake didn't see Hydra's.
Oh, okay, that's what I meant. Sorry, I meant FireCake was taking an educated guess. But alright,
Yeah.
So, yeah, with Muta being Muta... I mean, okay... This is hard for me to hype. I don't love the style Zerg plays. Zamgrib does. This is like our opinions on mech for Terran, right? Like one of us loved it, one of us hated it type thing. But I think that's one of the interesting points to make is that this is, Muta vs. Muta does require a very certain level of precision, especially when it comes to stacking the Mutas to get the shot off and backing away. And on NA, they're both going to be fighting for a little bit of lag. Now, it's hard to say whether it's fair versus unfair because, FireCake, you to North America, Korea to North America, which is better? It's hard to say, but it will be quickly determined. One small mistake can cost you a lot when it comes to Muta fights.
Yeah, I guess lag could definitely affect the Corsair Bioshots and a Roach Ravager fights, but I do think it's going to be affecting this more, Mutaling Bling. Well, less so on the Banelings right now. But there's so much micro that has to be done here. You're going to be dependent on Ling, Floods, Run-Bys, going underneath your Mutalisk at all times if you ever do decide to take a fight. Sometimes you do see stacking of Mutas to snipe another Muta. Like, there is some micro more than just, like, I think I have more Mutas than you do, or faster upgrades than you do, which Hydra does have a bit faster that +1 Carapace, but, like, not very much. Flyer attack should be the follow-up, as we've learned from TLO, basically.
Just a quick note at the income graph, by the way. Not huge amounts, because the peak is like 500, but definitely a bit of a lead there for FireCake. Still going strong, actually.
He had that third base so much quicker, and he has a couple more drones too, so he's putting that money into a fourth. He could have put into a lot more Lings and then started counterattacking, getting into the main base, making sure that Hydra never goes off of his own base, but Hydra actually takes the Muta fights. That is really dangerous.
He's down in Mutas going into this, and he loses control so quickly. I don't know, I guess it looked like a small amount out of FireCake, but that was a... severe misunderstanding of the situation.
Yeah, well, like, unless you're absolutely sure, like, not just like I think I have more wings than he does, but like I know I have 20 more Mutas than he does. You usually don't want to take the fight. It
may have been the pressure from seeing the fourth, hoping to keep the Mutas in the middle of the map while the Lings ran by, or combination of the two. Yeah. Obviously, it didn't work out, but this fourth base from FireCake is actually pretty huge in this situation.
Yeah, he already took the gases too, still the most important parts. I mean, he did run away with the Lings first and then brought them back, realizing the Muta War was going so poorly, but I feel like if you're really afraid of a fourth base, you should just try and be sneaky with the Lings as opposed to trying to take on a fight. But this is how Hydra is going to try and get back into this game, is by going for Infestors.
Infestors, and worth noting, massive amounts of Queens. So the reason this works out pretty well, we've seen Queens have decent damage, fungal growth hold things in place, blah, 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 blah. But the Queens are tanky, whereas Hydras are not. And that's why this choice is sometimes a lot better. Not to mention they're 100% gas-free. Queens are just minerals, something that is a lot more affordable when you're trying to get gas-heavy units like Infestors out. So those two things combined, plus the fact that they can outrange a Mutalisk, there's a lot of good ways Queens can be used. But this is going to be tough, because it's not pathogen lanes. So these Infestors, they can't even fungal right now. They have to wait.
Can't even right now. Yeah, the meter count is almost double that of Hydra's, so FireCake should be able to win this game. Unless fungals are really good. No cancel on that 4th base, but cancels the gas to remake the 4th base, okay.
Whatever works. Unfortunate. Ling's gonna try and run by into that 4th once again. I mean, the mutas, if they get caught, that could be devastating, because that's what FireCake's put all of his army, all of his money into. All of these mutas. But it is also an amount that's gonna be... Like, even if you have a great fungal, can you catch all of them if they're not stacked? Not likely.
Yeah. They'd have to be all stacked, and the queens would definitely have to be there.
There might not actually be enough damage in these queens yet, either. Like, you catch them all in a fungal, like every single muta, sure. But you don't actually have enough damage to kill them before the fungals wear off.
Yeah, he only has 3 fungals. It's not gonna be enough to kill them on their own. Oh, this is where the infestors would have been beautiful. Those were entirely stacked on top of a spore crawler.
I thought for a moment the spore crawler shot was the fungal growth going out. I was like, oh my god!
I just... oh my god, no cancel again on the 4th base. It's so many minerals. He sees the infestors and is gonna go ahead and pre-spread. This is not what you would want. Not a bad fungal there,
Actually,
but he doesn't even get the second one.
The queens aren't in the fight. They're off creep trying to get here, so... Fungals, as great as they were, a little bit wasted. The mutals count not enough to take this on. 42 versus 15. Hydra is not going to take this first game. Not at this rate.
No, he's not. Well, he made like one very crucial mistake. I mean, it was about that 4th base. It had to have been, but I don't know. To take that muta fight just felt so... Does Hydra even play Mutalisk? Like...
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. That was very strange. That was a very strange engagement choice to know the map there. But FireCake, congratulations. Foreigner hype. He's going to take the first game in this best of 5.
Next map is going to be on Dusk Towers.
I don't remember if we shouted it out in the middle of the game or not. Axehead15, though, did reset for 2 months, so thank you so much for that. Kept waiting for Zombie up to, I don't know, stop talking, but the opportunity didn't come and the fight began, so... No, we're not ignoring subs, guys. Doing our best. The last couple days have been a bit rough with subs, too, and that's on my bad. I'm still pretty discombobulated being sick. Alright. Game number 2, currently underway, here for the TING Open. Haven't really talked about it much, but just that reminder, guys, hit up bttv.ting.com if you're considering learning more about TING. Unfortunately, it's only available to the folks in the United States, but if you are in the United States, fortunately for you, it's a great service, so make sure to check it out. Spawning here in the top right side, though, of the map, it's going to be the guy leading the series, actually. Up 1-0 currently, it's Ro16 Gaming of FireCake.
In the bottom left as the red Zerg, he is Roots Hydra, and of course he's going for an early pool, and of course they swapped colors.
The color aspect of that aside, the earlier pool, this is everything I would expect out of somebody like Hydra in most normal circumstances. But this is, again, Korea, time zone difference, maybe jet lag, latency. There's about a million excuses I can make for him. But the fact of the matter is, like, this is something that's supposed to be really hard to deal with, no matter what your situation is.
I wonder if jet lag is maybe helping him because Midnight Korea doesn't feel as bad as it should for, like, reality.
Is this coming from experience too with your adventures over in Korea? Like, well, I gotta cast the Alima League at 5 a.m., but I don't know.
Nah, I didn't really have a lot of jet lag. I guess I'm lucky in that aspect. Like, I did wake up at 6 in the morning and thought it was 6 at night because my clock didn't auto-adjust, but other than that, I was pretty okay.
I have weird interactions with jet lag. I've only ever experienced it once in our many times traveling the time zones, but I think it's because our sleep schedules are so fucked up anyway.
You could not get your head across, like, around EST, though.
Okay, that's not the same as jet lag, though. Like going to Europe, sleeping, not a problem. Going to East Coast several times, not a problem. It's just like the one time I couldn't sleep was, I think, like altitude time, but I think that had more to do with nerves than anything else. But you're right, like, for the month we spent in East Coast, despite the fact that I do it all the time, no problem here on the West Coast, I could not do East Coast time zone translations. Like, it was a big problem for me.
Well, of course, we had Hydra just kind of darting around with his lings to dodge the Overlord of FireCake, but of course now FireCake will see the rest of the lings and know what's up. as the yeah, obviously the hatchery would have been in the natural if there was going to be one.
We've been seeing it more commonly where players have been doing some really cool SimCity to actually hold off these attacks. FireCake not doing that. You know, the Baneling Nest would ideally have come down, say, over here to block out the mineral line, Spinecrawler towards the back. He is starting to try and do that full wall off now, but in a very expensive and I feel like almost too late, inefficient manner. Plus, he's left a big hole on the left side where the Banelings can walk right on into their drone line.
Yeah.
So, like, you've done a great job walling off the right side, but...
Jesus.
Oh, the drones have only got one way to run, and that's out through the Banelings. Big hits go down. Spinecrawler's going to complete.
You're going to be so low after this hit.
Oh, you know, Hydra's not necessarily killing everything here. He does get a good amount of workers killed. But let's also not forget, like, FireCake, well, he does defend this. That's 3 Spinecrawlers, 3 drones, 300 minerals. Like, that's a lot of money in what is this defensive setup. And Hydra may just run past it and say, so, yeah, I'll just go attack the natural. Have fun in the main. He's going to worker lead, too, while this goes on.
FireCake, once he realized that it was, you know, the all-in, like the true all-in with Banelings and speed included, he did skip his own speed to go for Banelings a little bit quicker, but that means that he, of course, is not going to have Lings to catch up with these Lings, so his third, or his natural might go down.
Oh, hello.
Spinecrawler might go down. Hello, Baneling.
Yeah, it doesn't hit all the Lings, but it does take out the Spinecrawler pretty quick.
Yeah, and there's no counterattack either, so even if Hydra was unable to do any more damage, and he still is doing damage, he would have a lot of time on his own to drone and get his hatchery. Yeah,
be able to just walk away from this too.
You go.
Script past the Banelings too. Banelings come down on top of the ramp. Broodlings, hello, what are you guys doing here? Well, what's up? Of course, this is still for Hydra. He could just straight up macro behind this, and he is. There's no more Lings coming out. It is just Banelings. Oh, sorry, drones. These Banelings, of course, getting popped off, but they still make it to the mineral line. And Hydra looking for some payback for certain on that last game. 7 more workers go down. Double the worker count for Hydra. And he's still flooding Lings across the map.
No, losing the hatchery, FireCake knows it's game over. No Lings to counterattack, even if he could waddle Banelings over. I think if he had the hatchery, I could actually be like understanding as to why he's not leaving the game. But without it, there's no comeback potential. He doesn't have queens either.
I mean, in fairness, Minecraft is a pretty entertaining game, but I will remark that FireCake did choose to stay on North America, so before we read too much into the whining there, we did offer the opportunity to service swap, and he chose North America.
Yeah. Of course, Hydra would have had to have agreed too. They both said, like, oh, I prefer staying on the same server.
Yeah. What's map 3?
Arena.
Okay, get this set up. As it is tied up 1-1, guarantees that we will go to a game 4, which also means we'll take a small break after this next game. So make sure you guys, if you got to use your bathroom breaks, that's the time to do it. I don't like this Gisato guy. He keeps trying to join games, and he was messaging me all day yesterday. I'm pretty sure he's like in league with the Korean betters. And then we got people like restreaming again. I'm trying so hard not to think about it, but it's so gross and so annoying that people are so scummy about stuff in StarCraft.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Arena, there we go. So, once again, thanks to Ting, 2 thumbs up. Bing. We'll see you guys here in a sec. Alright, okay, there we go. Black screen hung around for just a second. But as we can see, once again, early pulls, some shenanigans. In the top left side of Arena, it's going to be, oh, without gas this time actually, the red Zerg Hydra.
The bottom left as the blue Zerg, he is FireCake.
So it is Arena, and you gotta assume somebody wants to get aggressive on this map. It is rather rare with the rush distance being what it is that you have someone not do it. Hydra, of course, shows that really cool tactic of hatchery blocking if you were going to play the more macro side of this and the less cheesy side of things, but he is going to have a lot of not really anything other than slow Lings, which sole purpose is to knock down a hatchery, and FireCake's build has led precisely into...
Yeah.
It's like Hydra knew exactly what his opponent was going to do. This was so perfectly organized.
Yeah, all this really should be able to do is kill a hatchery that's was a hatch first, too. If it wasn't a hatch first, then sometimes it doesn't, and it is a bit of a failure. Without the gas committal, it's not as dedicated as, of course, the all-in we saw in the last game. And it's just that nice opener versus FireCake. Oh god, the salt shakers. I do wonder if Hydra is either like that first game was like I tried to play a regular ZvZ, look what that got me, no thank you, or maybe the salts from FireCake is affecting his decision to go for more early pools. But if he goes for an early pool in the third or the fourth game too, I'm gonna say it's the latter.
I think
FireCake complaining would be good.
I think that's a little reading too much into it. I think Hydrus is a really smart player who knows how to predict his opponent's builds and played precisely to counter that. The drones get pulled to try and defend this. Nice mineral walking out of FireCake there initially, but he's still going to bleed out a lot of drones, and as they retreat, this does keep the hatchery low, so still, you're going to lose the hatchery, but lose mining off of this too. Like, look at that spike for a moment. That's essentially 250 minerals now Hydra has over his opponent, not to mention the hatchery going down.
If you try and save the hatchery, but end up losing it plus a couple of drones, I think you actually are like in pretty bad shape. I mean, losing the hatchery itself is not very good either. I think this actually might be game here.
He pulled back a lot of those low lings. I thought that was just some pathing at first, but very distinctly clicking on one at a time. Well done. Goes back for the second kill.
There's no lings.
FireCake
can't defend this. That's game.
GG. All right.
GG.
Quick game number 3, but that will give Hydra a nice lead now in the series 2-1. Now we're going to keep the break kind of short here, guys. So just a small word from our sponsors, a small break screen. I need to go blow my nose, and see you guys in a few moments. Alright, folks, we're back. Oops. Sorry, I forgot to turn the sounds back on, too. It is game number 4 currently here in the second series today. In this best of 5, we do continue in the top right side of the map with the red Zerg player from Ro16 Gaming. It's FireCake.
In the bottom left is the blue Zerg. He's Root Hydra.
No early pull this time. So that's how you throw your opponent for a loop.
Yeah, you'd think FireCake would learn his lesson and not go for like an early hatchery, but he's actually going for a hatchery first, even still. He won't do that 3 times in a row. Of course not. But I think it would have been smart of Hydra if he was playing against a person with... who actually got scared from, I guess, dealing with that. But, I mean, FireCake's even going for a hatch gas pool still. Like, he was actually not thrown off by those other 2 pools at all. That's bold.
I mean, so it's actually a good trait, in my opinion. FireCake, for all the salt that people may be trying to shake his way and what have you, it is worth noting that he's not getting on tilt. He's not, like, overreacting to Hydra. He's still playing his game of ZvZ, and... it might be like map number 1, where if he can get away with how he wants to play, he'll be perfectly fine. He'll take the victory. Because let's not forget, FireCake started off 1-0 in the series.
Yeah, Orbital Shipyard does have quite a few Muta games on it too, so maybe he's looking exactly for that situation. The thing about Mutas is that, I mean, there have been complaints from most Zerg players in this matchup for some time, and a lot of people could probably start thinking, like, okay, if they're going to do it, then I have to do it. So I'm not saying we're going to absolutely go into, like, Muta Fest like it was in the beginning of Heart of the Swarm again, but I could see a lot of people defaulting to that just to not ever have to deal with Roach Hydra versus Mutas. In fact, he goes for a pretty early Roach Warren. He does skip speed for it, so this would just be just to clog up the ramp and keep your main and natural really safe. Hydra should get a faster third off of that, just the difference in builds, but would still lose out overall versus the Roach Wars. FireCake might get double upgrades. FireCake actually trying to get a third base as quickly as Hydra. Hydra could definitely try and stop that once he has link speed.
Well, we'll see what he can get away with. I mean, we've seen a lot of situations where lings work when they really shouldn't. Not to say that that's like something you bank on happening, but it is the possibility of it. In the meantime, though, you're right. Like, the roaches can sit there, clog up the choke, so lings can't get this around. If you get a couple queens on the top, extra range, cool. Then yeah, Hydra's never going to get up this ramp, but he still might get the third. That is the downside to having such a defensive setup, but still both players droning pretty heavily. A couple roaches out for now. Really, 3 roaches is not a lot to bat your eyes at.
No, it's not. And if Hydra really wanted to try and tear down this third, I think he really would have been able to just make like 20 lings, but he wasn't prepared to do so. He was still just droning, more droning. So it is going to be actually an even game, which I'm not gonna give the FireCake unless Hydra also goes for roaches. In which case, I'm like, okay, FireCake got the faster upgrade here, the evolution chamber, and might get a bit faster roach speed. But I'm feeling that Hydra might be trying to go for a Spire. Thing is that with roaches already available, FireCake could try and push out before the Spire's done if he got scouting. But without his own Ling speed, it is quite hard to get that scouting. I mean, he sees that there's no roaches with an Overlord, kind of. Like, there's no roaches that are coming at him, but that doesn't guarantee that Hydra doesn't have a Roach Warren in his natural or something.
Yeah, exactly. And it's... I feel we actually have a lot more games where players do actually read each other pretty perfectly rather than misreading the situation, but from time to time you will have that go down. You assume there's no roaches, you go for this attack, oops, you're misinformed, and boom, dead. Thank you, Arrogance GG, for the 2-month resub.
Woo!
Good to have you back again.
There's the Spire, and Hydra is going to be able to get away with this, it looks like. FireCake is making a handful of Lings right now. Oh no, that's still Hydra, never mind. FireCake's just getting speed.
I am just going to say I'm a little jaded going into this, though, because, again, we saw we saw FireCake, the FireCake, I guess, win that first game so well, and it was because Hydra didn't look very well suited for mutas. I mean, we've seen Hydra play every aspect of ZvZ. You know, him versus Violet was a fantastic series not too long ago, but it is something a little bit strange where it just maybe it was latency, maybe it was being uncomfortable. I don't know, but the mutas were not well handled in game number 1. Now it's not muta versus muta, but that same like reservation for me comes out like Hydra, man, don't screw this up again.
It's going to be hard to screw it up in the same fashion. I mean, it really should have been hard to take an engagement with Hydra with his years of experience in StarCraft 2 and Brood War. That's so funny. He plays Brood War, or used to anyways, and that was all muta, and he still messed up with them. I judge you so much more harshly, Hydra. Mostly kidding.
This is his fault for being Korean. Zymgrub's got that extra high bar of approval.
I do, yeah. But yeah, mostly kidding. FireCake did get eyes on the Spire, but when it was already like 3/4 of the way done, so he figured that if he did an Roach attack, it wouldn't have made it in time, so he just slaps down a Hydralisk end that seems awfully early, but not if it's just a reaction to the mutas. Problem with the Hydralisk end, of course, is that Hydras don't do so well against mutas. They can't really chase them that well. They'll die to them if there's only 1 or 2. The Glaive Worm's actually pretty good, and if Hydra transfers over into his own Roach Hydra, which he is, you don't want to overcommit to Hydralisk. This is the next thing that FireCake needs to scout.
I wonder if it is going to be Hydras or if it will just be straight up to Lurkers. Because, I mean, we've seen 2 different approaches to this, right? You have Mutalisk with a hell of a lot of Banelings to bust underneath, take out the Hydras, no problem. You also see a couple players doing Lurkers to take out the Roaches, so that the combined forces can take on the Hydras. I mean, it is going to be curious to see how he uses this Hydra Den.
Yeah. Okay, it's gonna be for the Lurkers immediately.
Boom.
So, if FireCake ever realizes, like, hey, that muta count isn't growing, and what is he transitioning into, he could attack before the Lurkers were ready, and Hydra would be at a bit of an army disadvantage, especially with the upgrades also being farther behind. But FireCake's gonna get his own Lurker Den, so we're probably gonna wait for that before we see any fight whatsoever, and Hydra should be okay transitioning, getting a 4th base as well. Yeah, he got a couple of spine crawlers back when he thought maybe there was going to be an attack on the Spire, so now that it's going to be used in general to defend his bases. And a bad thing to have. And he's trying to catch up on those upgrades too by going for the double evolution chamber, which is nice.
Well, this could be actually an incredibly long game, depending on how this plays. I just want to state, though, I do like mutas for this sort of situation. Because, let's say that's stalemate, right? You got Roaches, Hydras, Lurkers, and even Spore Crawlers on that front line. It's the mutas that make the difference of being able to get around that, go harass the other side of the map, maybe even dive on top of the Lurkers, and just make that fighting force a little bit more manageable. Either way, I like that Hydra has these out and available. And he's not throwing them away for something silly.
Yeah. There's 11 of them, so they do have quite a lot of power in them, plus 1 if I were to upgrade them. So Queens go down really quickly, a couple of drones going down. The Hydralisk will now have to cover not just the 3rd base, but a 4th as well.
He's he does sacrifice a lot of these. I think a little bit of miscontrol there for just a moment, but 11 drones killed. Could have sniped off the infestation pit too if he really wanted, but he's got eyes on exactly what his opponent's doing. I don't believe FireCake's even scouted that it's going to be lurkers yet. In fact, no, he hasn't. So, I mean, there's a bit of guesswork that goes into it. You know, you mentioned before, you see that he's not swelling up on mutas, that there's not 40 in place. You can kind of take some guesswork at where your opponent's at.
Interesting to start focusing the roaches. I think you could have gotten the hatchery. Okay, he's still gonna get the hatchery?
Oh, well, lurkers
Oh, he
advanced
saw
to
the
front line.
lurkers. Yeah. That's a pretty nice move. There's a spore crawler giving detection, but FireCake's not really paying a whole lot of attention. Okay, now they're
coming in.
out. There we go. They could have tried to go on top of the lurkers, but he's just gonna retreat.
I like falling back. I think it's a smart
Yeah.
decision. The mutas did back away too. Looks like a couple of them got caught, so he did lose almost all the mutas at this point. Just minor harassing units for the time being. But those banelings, like, if there's only the one spore crawler and they had sacrificed for the spore crawler, great. Suddenly Hydra's in a pretty fantastic spot. But FireCake has so many spore crawlers, and this was initially for the mutas. It's going to be great for detection. Ooh, Hive actually starts up a little bit faster for FireCake. It's worth noting when it does come to lurker wars, Vipers are the greatest asset in the game. Their abduct will not only bring the unit towards you, but also unburrows them. So
it's true.
Kind of annoying to deal with. And Blinding Clouds, they're never bad, but it is more emphasis on the abducts.
Legacy tunneling claws as well. I think there'd be a lot of power and harassment. Hydra is not the one with a lot of spore crawlers for detection. FireCake is. But Hydra does have one advantage if he goes up to a hive, which I think he should soon, is that he already has a spire, so he could go to a greater spire and get brood lords. Where FireCake, he could go for his own spire right now, I mean, sure, but probably looking more towards those Vipers and maybe Ultralisk. Maybe.
Yeah, I'd love to see Baneling drops or something. I know there's spore crawlers all over the place, so it makes it hard to do, but it's just funny seeing these slow Banelings waddling around the map. I mean, if he had speed, you're kind of like, yeah, you can at least use the Banelings, but nope.
Nope. The upgrades are going to be +3 for FireCake, but 2/2 for Hydra. So a double Evo chamber really working out for Blue Zerg. Infestation Pit finally comes down. That was a long time in waiting. FireCake is very close to having the ideal composition. Roach, Hydra, Lurker, Viper. Maybe some fungals should be included as well, and then something on tier 3, Ultralisk or Broodlords. And that's going to be just the perfect Zerg army. A Lurker in defense is so great.
That one Lurker, actually, yeah, that was so sick. Oh, he's going back into mute. It's 19 of them coming out. This is dangerous, though, because, you know, we saw the Vipers made for abducts, obviously, with a mine, but 6 parasitic bombs can also be pretty damn good if they go off at the same time. Does Muta tech swap back into more mutas? I like it, but it's also very dangerous. We'll see how it gets used. Yeah. Hive tech starts up for Hydra, meanwhile, while this goes on, so he's going to have that late game to play with. Tunneling Claws being utilized from FireCake because he does split up several roaches around the map. Keep in mind, the ideal count is about 3 per mineral line, usually, so you can one-shot the drones.
This is going to see the mass meter transition too, which is pretty important, and be able to keep that back at home while FireCake prepares his defenses. I'm not sure what else he can really do. He could try putting down a bunch more spore crawlers, but there's so many mutas that spore crawlers aren't really going to help. Just about, I guess, having his army in the correct position. His 5th base is a no-go. That was not going to happen. No cancel either.
Drones
and while the roaches are killing a couple of drones, more than a couple, the army is moving out, and the mutas are heading towards that natural.
So he's
that army's not going to be able to keep up. Yeah.
That means the Hive's going to go down. Oh, that's dangerous. Meanwhile, the Lurkers do find a little bit of an army. Unfortunately, Hydra's Lurkers do get to burn a pretty nice spot to shred the roaches. Oh my god, FireCake falling apart here at the bottom of the ramp. Meanwhile, back at home, looks like parasitic bombs did take out the mutas. We missed that fight because this one went down, and Hydra killed so much of the ground army.
Yeah. Now, oddly enough, FireCake, of course, they both had huge bangs, I guess. So FireCake actually not completely down in army despite those huge chunks the Lurkers took out. This one Lurker actually came into the mineral line a little bit. Well, that is a long range.
I would say one of the biggest differences in the way this fight played out was the fact that Hydra did get another base while this went on, and FireCake got his completely shut down. Not canceled, but killed. Does it suck to lose like 24 mutas to parasitic bombs? Absolutely. And the Hydra's not in a great spot still army-wise coming off the back end of it, but his upgrades overall are better. He's got more versatility and options. And I do feel like with his base and economy being really one of Zerg's greatest aspects, he's going to have the money to throw away at FireCake, whereas FireCake won't have the money to throw away at Hydra.
Yeah. He has one chance here, but a couple of lurkers are going to deter that. The Ling's trying to run past the lurkers, but then caught on a spine crawler, so it doesn't go so well. These 5 mutas, no, they can't take down a hive. That's not allowed to happen.
Ooh, Blinding Clouds go down instead of Sunlight Clouds. Blinding Clouds again go down, and the lurkers got to reposition another time. This takes him away from the ramp, the defensive location that he wanted so badly, but he is going to have some shots now, and these roaches are going to get sliced and diced. That 2 armor upgrade from Hydra giving him a huge advantage here in the fight. Duck's going off now, but that just brings the lurkers a little bit closer. Meanwhile, Hive is about to go down on the other side of the map. If Hydra can just hold this location... Oh, 2 more lurkers! Surprise, surprise! Oh no!
Damn. That's all of FireCake's army, and Hydra has taken a really big lead in that income.
Hive
His
goes
Vipers
down.
are also going to go down. The Hive is down, so that's the only Vipers
he got the
he's going to
Carapace
have.
upgrade too. Oh, he gets the Carapace upgrade too. GG. We're going to have Hydra take this series. Great lurker usage. Both players, but of course Hydra a little bit better. Thank you, First Person Sweet, as well for the 19-month resub. Well, that went on. Big love. Big love. But it is losers match first, so we are going to be going to Europe next, where we'll have FireCake versus Solo come down.